What's going on, guys? Welcome to our first ever podcast where we talk, well, not just Destiny. I know you see Destiny on the screen there, but other games as well. We'll try to do this weekly, and we will try to talk about as many games, as many variety games as possible. I am joined today with Juan Kalau, Black Thunder, and 185. Alright, well, let's take it away. Alright, guys, we are good to go. Alright, so, who's first? Who's introducing themselves first?
You.
I already did. I was muted, but I already did it.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything.
Okay, go ahead, Juan.
Okay, I'm Juan Kalau, and I've been playing Destiny since The Dark Below, and happy to be here. Let's get the show on the road.
I am just the IT guy, and I've been playing Destiny since the beta in PS3, pretty much, and been a player since. That's how far back I go, right?
Yeah.
I'm a 185. I started playing Destiny since the beta as well on Xbox 360 though, and then I switched over to PS4 for the Taken King.
Nice.
Till now.
Damn.
Till now. Well, I'm not a beta guy, but I'm a day one guy on the 360, and switched over to. Well, I stopped playing for a year, so like vanilla Destiny was after I beat the campaign, and because playing solo or whatever, and I stopped playing essentially until right before the Taken King came out. So I bought the Dark Below and the House of Wolves expansion on Destiny 1. And this was like a month before the Taken King came out, and I just grinded the shit out of it. And yeah, been PS4 ever since.
Sweet.
I mean,
Why
technically,
did you guys get into Destiny? Like, why made you buy the game?
honestly, because Bungie. I was a big Halo dude.
Yeah,
I
me, it
like
was-
Halo.
Yeah, I
go ahead.
liked Halo also, but me it was more like I didn't even know like Bungie was actually the developer when I heard about the beta. I just wanted to try it out, and so I downloaded it, and I got hooked ever since. It's nothing about just going around shooting aliens. Pretty cool.
Did you guys have to like sign up for the beta, or was it something like, okay, beta's out now, try download it?
No, I think you had to sign up for it. I can't remember though, because there's a couple of betas I played on where you had to sign up for them, and some of them where you're just able to download them. But I pre-ordered it before the beta because they pretty much sold it as the guys who made Halo and Call of Duty are making Destiny, and so like those were like two of my favorite games at the time.
Yeah, see, I didn't even make that Call of Duty like connection. I mean, I loved Call of Duty way back then.
Mhm.
What was it? Right around that time was Ghost, right? Or Black Ops 2?
I think it was Ghost.
Yeah, I was still playing Ghost. But yeah, no, it's Bungie. I mean, they hyped it up. It was like, oh, Bungie makes another IP, another game, and I was like, oh my god, I'm a huge fan of Halo, and yeah, this is back when I was still an Xbox guy, and I was like, well, let's try it out. It looked promising.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I did.
My story is a little different because I didn't know anything about Destiny. I bought the PS4 because I graduated from university and my sister gave me like $500. So I bought
Bam.
a PS4
It's a nice sister.
and yeah, and then I bought the PS4 and it came with Destiny. And I bought the same day I bought the Call of Duty. I think it was Ghost, and played Call of Duty Ghost an hour, 2 hours. Tried Destiny and never put Call of Duty back.
To be fair, Call of Duty Ghost was not the greatest Call of Duty. It was good,
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. It was okay.
but it wasn't like, this is like at post Modern Warfare era,
Yeah, I think that's the one that I really got hooked on was the Modern Warfare one.
Yeah, me too.
I think everybody did.
Yeah, the 4 and Modern Warfare 2 are like Call of Duty.
Yeah, no, those are the Call of Duties. Like, if you were gonna play a Call of Duty, it would be those. So okay, now that we've established our Destiny 1 experience, essentially, favorite PvE moment on Destiny 1.
PvE moment.
Could be like a, something that happened in game or something that happened in a raid.
Mine was beating the raid for Rat to the Machine Lion. We didn't know what was going on. I think I beat it with Black Top, the IT guy.
Yeah.
We figured every encounter, didn't look anything up. Took us a long time.
Did we already meet by then, or is this something that you?
Yeah, no, I met.
We should probably establish how we all met.
Yeah. So I met Juan since D1. That's when I pretty much get in contact with him. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was LFG or
no, what happened was that I was just I didn't know what a clan was when I first started playing Destiny. I didn't know what server was. I didn't know what a raid was. So I was doing a public event, and then I did it with Who Shot Ya. I didn't know him, but he was there, and we did the public event, and we kind of waved, hey, what's up, wave, wave, and then we became friends through there. And he was in the same clan as you. That's of Destiny, and then he
oh, okay, yeah.
invited you over, and then we did a raid or we did something, and that's when the if you remember the Red Death thing that you used to say, that's when it came out. That's why it stuck.
Yeah, that's pretty much how me and Juan ended up getting along with each other, because I forgot that Who Shot, the player that he was actually playing with, was part of the Dads of Destiny clan. Now, little did I realize, he just shot an invite and just pretty much started raiding and doing stuff together in Destiny 1 since then.
Nice. See, I mean, that's what Destiny was made for. The whole social aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that was very, very pretty, like, very neat about the whole game, able to connect with different people that you don't even know, like, not maybe like out of state or who knows, out of country.
Yeah. Well, see, that was before all of those LFG groups came out on like Facebook and Bungie and Reddit and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, I mean, finding somebody through that way, like just by playing the game, was, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it was hard. Like because most people like me, I lone wolfed the game up until Taken King, and
Yeah, no.
it was. I mean, I never did a raid up until just before the Taken King came out, because I told my friends, I'm like, oh, I'd never done The Vault of Glass or Crota's End. Was that the raid? No, it was.
Yeah.
It was the raid,
that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that I had never done those, and my friends were like, okay, we'll carry you through it. And then yeah, I mean, I bounced off of clans because it was hard. It was hard making friends, man. And then
Hey, I'm sorry.
no, go for it.
No. Finish.
Oh,
Sorry.
what was I gonna say? That then randomly, like, I joined the Facebook group for PS4, which my friend told me about, and then that's where I met. Well, he's not here, but that's where I met Justice, and then we became friends, and we started like playing like raids and PVE together. And then one day he gave me an invite to Iron Banner, and one was there, 185, and I was like, yo. And after that, we just started playing like PvP together all the time, and
Didn't we join a clan together a long time ago? That's how I met Justice.
is it
With
well?
one of those clans from the Guardians of Destiny podcast. Guardians
I'm
of
not
D.
sure.
They
I
like promote clans at the end of every episode every week.
really
And I
see.
think one week I wrote down the clan that they promoted, and that's when I joined that one, and that's how I met Justice.
Really
And I thought
okay.
you too, but maybe it was later.
No, I had my own clan at the time.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Oh,
it
yeah,
was,
you're right. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
because
I
it was
forgot.
me and my friends. We were all like, this is back when when Destiny was still a huge thing and everybody was playing it. And yeah, me and my
Yeah, that
friends.
Chicago streamer that you know. Like, you guys had a clan with her name in it, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
well, no, it was even after that or before that, I should say, because the clan that we made, me and my friend made, it was just me, us, and our friends. And then I left that clan because I was the only one active out of like 15 members, and then I joined
Mhm.
Snaps' clan.
Yeah, I think you were in Snaps' clan when I met you, though.
Yeah, I was in Snaps' clan when we met. That was that was during Iron Banner because like
Yeah.
the
then
only
that's how
person I
we
knew
met
was
Milo.
Justice. And then like
During an Iron Banner match, like, he just whooped on us, man. This one match, we kept winning, but like we kept playing the same team over and over again, and we kept winning. But this one guy on the other team, just kept whooping on us, man.
Milo.
And I remember, I think I sent a message to him saying, "Good game," because he was just killing me with that fusion rifle, and so then he sent me like an invite or something, and then I sent him one because we were already in a game together, and then I think that's how we met like Lynx and Juan, because they were all in the same clan together.
Yeah, the 10 jerks in a squad or something like that.
Yeah.
I got on that clan because the clan that we were on with Black with the IT guy is everybody stopped playing, so I just joined a Facebook group, and I think Fast said, "Oh, I need help with an iPhone," and I helped them, and that's how I met you guys. But back to your question, remember like the most memorable moment?
Oh yeah.
We beat with IT guy Black Thunder. We beat Atheon in like a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Did you force him
Man.
off the edge?
Yeah. Huh?
You did
No,
that
it
whole
wasn't
the
Atheon.
fire
No,
grenade thing,
sorry.
the flare,
No,
solar flare.
not Atheon. It was the other guy, the one, the Templar. Sorry.
Oh, the Templar. Okay.
Yeah, the Templar,
Right,
yeah.
guy, a minute without being on top, like without cheesing it. Did we cheese it from the top? I don't remember. Anyway, you have the video on your YouTube channel, and it was like 2 minutes or something that we melted.
Yeah. I think I still have it there, man.
You need to show these guys how we used to.
Yeah, I would say like going back to that question, in D1, I think my most memorable moment was actually completing the raid with these guys. Actually beating Atheon and then able to get all the good new gear. I think that was pretty much like the most memorable moment in D1. And when it came to D2, I don't know. Like I would say, just beating the actual raid, I guess itself was just an accomplishment. But I really can't say like if I had anything memorable like I did, or that feeling from like playing D1. You know?
Waiting for that exotic drop to get the Galahorn.
Yeah, or the galley. Yeah, you remember like everybody got the Galahorn. They were like so excited.
You weren't allowed into raid groups in D1 unless you had the Galahorn. That was like.
Dude, for real, that was like the prerequisite.
You can have every other crap
for
gun.
Crota.
Yeah, what?
I said, yeah, for Crota. I remember all the Crota teams were saying that because my favorite moment was the first time me and my friends beat the Crota raid, because I didn't have a group to play Vault of Glass when it was out. I remember some random dudes cheesed it with me and Scott. Like they invited me and Scott, and that was how I got that that Vex gun. I totally forgot the name of it. The
Mythoclast? Yeah.
That was how I got the Mythoclast, and I remember I was owning it in PvP for like a week before they nerfed it.
That thing, yeah. Back when that first came out, man, people that had it just destroyed.
Yeah, it was only a week for me, but when we finally beat the Crota raid for the first time, I remember it was so hard, and it took like so many attempts to do it, even knowing like how to do it, like watching other people do it and having them explain it. Like we didn't do it blind or nothing. And the first time we beat it, it was just such a great feeling that I've always like chased that afterwards. I've always like played the crap out of most of the raids.
That's why you're like so into raids, man.
Dude, I love it, man. The raids are so fun. Getting 6 people together and trying to accomplish a similar goal against the computer as opposed to in PvP against other people.
Yeah,
is just always been fun to me. And then you in D1 you always got the best gear out of the raid. Like if you wanted to be, max light, you had to beat the raid.
Oh yeah,
especially before Trials came out.
Because what were those things that the raid drops? Like those little.
Oh, it was the shards.
Yeah, the shards.
Yeah, to level the stuff up.
Yeah, to level up your weapons.
I think only Iron Banner was the other thing that you can get high levels drops from.
Iron Banner and like, when Trials came out, Trials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Nightfall. I mean, I know you can get something high from the Nightfall.
The Nightfalls were brutal though, like pre.
Yeah, but you couldn't infuse anything either. Yeah. So like you had to get you got what you got.
Yeah.
If it was high light, you had to use that weapon.
Yep. Well, I mean, those brutal days.
Yeah, the good old RNG, right, back then.
Oh, well, that's what kept us playing, man. It was RNG.
Yeah, that and the grind, bro. Because you always want that weapon, that one weapon or that one gear.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm glad that they're kind of bringing that back. But I mean, for me, as far as like my favorite moment for D1 was, I was fresh, taking King, whatever, and I hopped on LFG group, and it was literally me and a bunch of randoms, and the first time we beat Oryx.
Yeah,
dude,
that was a good raid.
That was insane. And then
that was my favorite raid.
You get the emblem for it, and then after that, every time I was in the tower, man, it was like I get message or invite after invite asking me, if I can help them finish the Oryx raid, just because I had that emblem.
Okay, so I got a question. Favorite raid for you guys?
Favorite raid, Vault of Glass, for hands down.
Hands down, VOG. I agree with Evo.
With when they redid it, when they re-released it, Rise of Iron. Dude, even if I don't get anything, I would run that raid like countless of times.
Okay, for me, it would be tie between the Vault of Glass and the
Wrath of the Machine.
Wrath of the Machine.
Yeah, that was fun.
Wrath of the Machine was fun.
It had a fun factor.
Well,
the other one was harder. What do you call the
King's Fall?
No. The
Vault of Glass.
Vault of Glass was harder, and it was more teamwork and the other thing. But Wrath of the Machine just had that fun factor, like that thing.
Wait.
That what was that thing called? The big thing that you had to like run.
Oh, the
Death Zamboni.
Yeah, the Zamboni.
Yeah, it was cool, and the thing with the Outbreak Prime. So it had a lot of things that were.
That's what I miss from Destiny 1, man. It's just you get weapons, or you hunt for weapons that you need the community's help to unlock. Like Outbreak Prime, Sleeper Stimulus, Black Spindle.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the good old days of just hunting for weapons. Like that's, you ran those multiple times. Like, oh my god, this is the daily for today, which means we can get the Black Spindle, or try to get the Black Spindle.
Yeah.
I was so lucky I got that on the first time I did it.
Yeah, it took me a couple of attempts.
It took me a long time to get the Black Hammer. Remember the Black Hammer?
I never got that in the first I never got that when it came out.
No.
No. I was an idiot too. Because I didn't know what the hell was what guns were. Because again, it was Destiny. I was playing the game. I never did research until after Taken King came out, and
Well, yeah, you said you missed the first year, so you probably missed the Crota raid altogether.
Right, yeah, essentially.
Because that gun came from the Crota raid.
That and icebreaker. I remember getting the icebreaker to drop, like from a random engram, and I dismantled it. I'm like, I'm never gonna use a stupid thing. And it took me forever to get it back.
I almost did that with the Gallahorn when I got my first Gallahorn. It was like my second.
Second week, Zero was
exotic.
out. Yeah, he sold it.
No, well, I didn't have strange coins back then because I didn't play it as much as other people. But like when I got it to drop, I think it was like in a nightfall. It was my second exotic, and I was just like, "Oh, a rocket launcher! Rocket launchers suck in this game." And so then I just kept it just because it was an exotic, and I knew that there was only like so many of those. So I ended up keeping it just sitting in my vault until I think somebody told me that it was the best gun in the game for DPS.
Remember, like,
what was the worst raid for you guys?
Worst raid? Crota.
I wouldn't even know like if it would call it a raid, but I think the worst one was like the House of Wolves, man.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The Prison of Elders. I forgot.
Skull. I mean,
because it was only 3 people, so like everybody had to be stronger. Like when you do a raid with 6 people, if you have 1 or 2 people that aren't that strong, you could kind of carry them. Whereas with that one, you had to have 3 strong people, and if you didn't, you were screwed. Like you weren't gonna beat it.
Yeah, there was no way.
That one was rough, dude. That one was so rough.
I didn't. Mine was Oryx, and like.
You didn't like Oryx? Oh, yeah, I remember this because you would always be like, towards the Rise of Iron, we'd be like, because we would run all those raids in a week, and every time we get to like King's Fall, you'd be like, no, I'm out. I'm not doing this.
No, it's too long, too mechanic heavy, and if you mess up one thing, like
you didn't think that for Wrath of the Machine? Remember that second encounter in Wrath of the Machine where we have to throw those orbs at the boss and shoot the screens? That's mechanic heavy too.
The final boss is really mechanic heavy.
Yeah.
But I think Oryx was more, and Oryx had 4 bosses. No other raid had 4 bosses.
That's true.
And no, the thing with Oryx was more of stand here, shoot this guy that is coming out of here. Okay, do this thing. You know what I mean? Like with Wrath of the Machine, you had to move everywhere and go. Everywhere.
That's true.
You had to play different roles. In Oryx, it was just like, okay, so you jump to platform 1, shoot this thing, 2, 3. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a bad raid, but it was my least favorite.
See, I say Crota just because that just felt like a really really long strike. Because all you're doing in Crota's End is killing all the mobs in an area, moving on, killing all the mobs in an area, moving on, and then killing all the mobs in an area. So I mean,
and there's a lot of glitches with Crota himself.
Yeah.
So if you could do everything right and then still not beat it because he glitched.
Oh my god, dude! Like, remember when we were trying to do the challenge part for that? Like, where
did he walk in the room on us once? I swear he walked into that.
Yeah, he did.
He started walking into the room where we were hiding.
You guys ever seen that video from Badass Gaming?
No, which one?
It's called Surprise Motherfucker, and it's like
oh yeah.
So they're like playing and then surprise and then it just kills them inside the room.
Yes, I have seen that. Yeah.
Or they died for no reason. Yeah.
That's Crota for you, man. It was full of glitches. I mean, Destiny 1 in general was full of glitches.
Yeah.
I like how like.
But at least Vault of Glass had good glitches where you could cheese it. Just throw some solar nades and you would fall off.
I mean, you did that with Atheon too, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what I meant, Atheon. Like, that's what those guys did, because I remember, like, me and Scott, because Scott was the one who actually turned me on to this game, and he was the one that I bought it with, so I played everything with him, mostly him in the year 1, and we were just patrolling the moon, doing some bounties or whatever, leveling up whatever gear we had, and then all of a sudden these guys were on the moon, and they were like, hey, do you want to do this? And we could barely understand them, because I think they just spoke Spanish. They were like, I'm assuming from South or Central America, and because they only spoke Spanish, and I barely really understood like a little bit, and so I was like, hey, he wants us to go do the raid. He says that he's got a foolproof plan to beat it, because we were saying, oh no, we're not, because we tried the raid and we got murdered in Vault of Glass, and we were like, oh, we're not high enough yet, And they were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything." And we're like, "Okay, like if that's what you think." I didn't believe them, so we went with them into it, and it was just on the Atheon part. Like we didn't even play at the beginning. He just took us to he had the Atheon checkpoint, and we in the beginning we got teleported into the room with the oracles, and then all of a sudden everything was done. Like it was like as soon as we teleported, all their warlocks jumped over there, threw solar nades, got them to fall off, and then before we were even done shooting the oracles, it just popped up saying that we beat it. And
when you got the Vex to
and it gave me the Vex Mythoclast. And so like
Nice.
and it was literally like less than 10 minutes. And so like I think I got a pair of boots for my Titan, and so then I was just like, oh my god, I got these legendary boots, because legendaries were so hard to get in year one. And I was just like, oh my god, I got legendary boots, because I think it was between that and my whatever exotic armor I had. The rest of my stuff was all blue. And then I was like, oh, I got this gun. Oh my god, look at this gun, because it looks so different from every other gun. And so I was telling Scott, but Scott got the what do you call that? Vision of Confluence. So I was kind of jealous of him because he got like a good legendary, so then he could still use an exotic. Whereas I got the exotic, and I was just like, dude, look at this thing! It's an automatic fusion rifle. It's so awesome.
For a week.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Some random dudes just said, "Hey, come on in here. I'm going to give you some free stuff."
See, that's essence, like what Destiny is. You know, it's in essence that what Bungie made Destiny for.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, so moving on from Destiny 1, like what do you think about the current?
Before we move on, first exotic, you already said it once.
No, I said my second one was Galhorn.
Thorn.
The first one was
Thorn.
it the Mythoclast?
No. Trying to think, what was my first? It was like either Hard Light or Suros Regime. I think it was Suros Regime. I remember it was an auto rifle.
The auto rifle meta way back in the day.
Yeah, I think it was Suros Regime.
Mine was Red Dead once we beat Crota.
Yeah, I think mine was Icebreaker.
Damn.
Oh, I love that, dude. That thing was so awesome.
I did the whole turn-in bounties weekly until I got the Thorn bounty to drop. And I was one of those guys in Crucible using Thorn. Yes, hate on haters.
I loved it. Didn't you love it though? Like Thorn and
it
then
was
that
2
damage,
shots.
man.
It was 2 shots and they were dead.
It took me forever to get those void kills. God, it took me
forever
because I didn't have a void primary. I never ran a raid before that.
That's what I was gonna say. That's why I was a void lock. That's void walker, man. All those void kills are so easy.
Yeah, I was mostly a Titan in year one.
Do you remember the swords?
Yeah, after taking King, right?
You know how on the swords you had to do like kills with the. You had to do like void kills to get the void sword or whatever.
Yeah.
So I chose the sword so bad. Like I chose to do void kills on my Titan. Like I gave my Titan the void. So
you had
I
the
had to be a bubble guy to get that sword.
Oh man.
I remember you and one were just complaining when you were I guess you were both doing it at the same time, and you're just like, this is the worst idea I've ever done as a Titan.
No, I didn't know you guys when I got those swords.
No,
because I didn't meet Justice until after it was after, I know it was after taking King, and it was after Christmas. So I want to say it was like it was before Rise of Iron, but it was probably like May-ish.
Okay.
Or maybe it was like maybe it was January-ish, because I think remember there was an April update.
Yeah.
Where they brought Prison of Elders like into the higher light level.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it was before Prison of Elders, because I remember when that came out, I was playing that with you guys. And that was when we got a couple of you guys your first Skolas kills.
I still haven't yet to kill Skolas.
What?
I've never.
You didn't do it with us? Because
No.
I remember I got somebody the first Skolas.
It
Maybe it was
wasn't me.
Justice.
It was Justice for
His
sure.
first Skolas kill.
They nerfed Skolas. Like, so if you didn't beat it the first time, like, now it's kind of nerfed.
That's what I heard. I mean, you're way too high level for him anyways.
Because the arc burn week was impossible, because all the fallen shot arc weapons at you.
Yeah.
So like you were able to get one shot by one of those vandals, man. Oh, that was so rough. I remember the only weeks we beat it was on solar burn weeks, because then you could use the Gallahorn.
Oh yeah. I like
did
those
it
burns.
I did it with IT. I think I did it with IT.
Yeah.
I'm
Stola?
saying like when it first came out, not after Taken King, when you were like severely higher level than it. But when it first came out, when it was really, really hard, the guys that I played with, we only beat it on solar weeks.
So you guys remember, again, this is way back. Destiny, one of the first times like Iron Banner was out. Remember there was a Queen's event that was going on. They had their little table on the
Queen's
tower.
Wrath.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What was that all about? I never.
That was like a PVE thing, and honestly, I think that was like one week that I happened to not be playing much because I saw it like the last day. But it was PVE. I remember it was like strikes and bounties, and
is that all it
there
was?
There was a ship. There was an armor set. I think there was a couple of weapons.
Yeah.
I think there was a sniper that everybody says is awesome.
Her Fury.
Her Benevolence or something like
that. Her
that.
Benevolence.
Oh, yeah, I have that one. I have her Benevolence.
That's a good sniper.
It was before that. It was before that, though.
Yeah,
it was before Taken. It was before Dark Below, actually.
No, well, the new weapons were...
And then they didn't do it again after that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Those weapons and stuff after Taken King came out. They released those weapons and stuff with the Prison of Elders, or what is that area that you go to? Remember you had to go there for trials to get your card?
Oh, the Reef.
The Reef.
There was like that lady at the Reef, the Queen's emissary or something.
Yeah.
When you level her up every week, she still drops like some of that old stuff.
At old light level?
No, it was current level for Taken King at the time.
Oh.
But I mean, like, once I was done doing everything in Taken King, I just was leveling her up because I remember I got like a ship that I'd never gotten before that not a lot of people had. And I got a couple of pieces of armor, but I couldn't get the whole set, so I didn't wear them that often because it wouldn't match other stuff.
Gotcha.
But I remember they like redid it. But like in year one, I didn't play much PvP. To be honest, like I only played a little bit of PvP, and I didn't. So when Iron Banner first came out and I heard about it, it was like, oh, it's a PvP event. So I was just like, oh, screw that. I'm not going to play that. So I didn't play my first Iron Banner until after Dark Below came out.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't play PvP. I didn't play PvP. I think until April. After that, because I was afraid of PvP because I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I was playing. I didn't know what a meta was. I was using just the guns that I liked. So I was using Red Dead when everybody was using hand cannons. You know what I mean? Like, so it was just...
I was using the Suros. Like, that's when I got into PvP. I mean, I played it a little bit when I had the Mythic class, but I only played with either by myself or with Scott back then. So, like, until I got, like, a normal group of guys that we were playing with, like, every day, every week, when we were running the Crota raid, then we would also run PvP. That was when I started to play PvP a lot.
Well, I was gonna say there was that point in time where Destiny there was that Suros meta. Did you miss out on that?
Yeah, no, I was there for the Suros meta for probably like a couple weeks. Then it switched to the hand cannon meta after that, and I was fine with the Thorn, but I had never liked the Last Word.
The Last Word.
I wasn't good with it.
What was that other one?
That's why I didn't like it. Plus, it seemed like it just melted you out of nowhere, and then lo and behold, later they tell you there's like a glitch where if they get a headshot from not aiming, it like did twice as much damage as it was supposed to, or something.
Yeah,
there was there was some weird glitch with it, and that's why like everybody loved using it.
Hawkmoon.
I played on year one.
Pretty good.
I played year one on Xbox One, so I didn't even get to see a Hawkmoon.
Oh really? Yeah, the Hawkmoon was.
I didn't get my Hawkmoon until I started playing Taken King, and by then they nerfed it.
Yeah, they did. Well, there was a 3-month period right before the Taken King came out where, yeah, they had all of these metas, and because I played Destiny 1 on Xbox 360. I'm actually looking at the case right now. And I beat the story, and I didn't play again for like a year until just after the House of Wolves came out, and then got it on PS4. And yeah, all of these metas, man, it was crazy.
Yep.
The only meta I knew was the Thorn meta.
The
That I
Thorn
knew.
Man. That was the most
Thorn.
memorable one, dude.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
the
the one
only
that
one I
lasted
knew.
the longest. It
It
seemed
was
like
the one that
because
lasted the longest.
it was like February of 2015 all the way until Taken King came out,
Yeah.
where Pulse
Yeah.
started to be good.
Oh my
Yeah, I
god, Pulse
remember the
Rifles.
Thorn lasted a long time.
Yeah, the Thorn was my favorite. That was like my favorite gun in PvP.
Well, okay, so remember, I don't know if you guys remember the Bungie did this thing where, you entered in your gamer tag or whatever, and then it gave you like this little video of of your stats or whatever just before the Taken King came out. I don't know if do you remember that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No. I don't
Yeah,
think-
see,
Yeah.
Juan remembers. Yeah, you literally you enter in your gamer tags and it creates like a little hype video for you for the Taken King.
Oh man, I wish that was still up. I would love to
That's
go
what I'm
back and
saying.
see
Bungie,
that
I
right
wish
now.
Bungie would do more stuff like that. That something that involves the community.
Yeah, it was like a trailer.
Yeah,
They
it was
did
a trailer.
It was a trailer of you, like.
Mhm.
But
doing
of your
stuff.
gameplay,
Not,
I don't
no,
know if
not
it
your
was a
gameplay. It was
gameplay
your
or not.
stats. Like
uh,
it says, for me. One of my stats was most exotic kills Thorn. At that time, 2,088 kills with the Thorn, and my precision,
wow.
my precision accuracy on PvP was like 18%. So stuff like that.
Oh, that's man. I would have.
I'll post
I
it on
can't believe I
Discord.
missed that.
I have it saved on my phone, but it was one of those things where I was like, man, I wish they did things like this. Still,
Well, I literally stopped playing on Xbox One when I got my PS4. So I guess I could, if I go to Destiny Tracker, I could type in my Xbox One account, look at my stats from there if I want.
But yeah, well, that's one of the cool things that they did. And I'm sad that they don't do stuff like that for Destiny 2 anymore, though. It's like, okay, here's Destiny 2. It's sad, too, because technically, technically speaking, Destiny 2 is a more polished game than Destiny 1 was. You don't get as many of the glitches. Your frame rates are, not, granted, it's still 30 frames per second, but on PC, your frame rates are really good.
Mhm.
But the thing is, it just lacks character.
It just lacks depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what they did was I think everyone who complained in Destiny 1, especially year 1,
Mhm.
is probably most of the complaints that they went off of. They literally like went in completely the opposite direction, so it seems like they made the game more geared towards people who would, just play it
Casuals.
for like a month
Yeah.
after the game came out, go through all the content, and then go and play something else until a new DLC came out. And those people were happy with the game because they weren't playing it every day.
They weren't us where we were grinding every day for the god
True.
roll weapon,
Yeah.
I was just
So I mean,
thinking
there
that.
was even a thing with Luke Smith where he stated that, like, play another game. Like, we don't mind if you go and play another game and then come back to us.
Which is, I mean,
I think the problem is that how Destiny 1 was not perfect at the beginning, and then they fixed it as they went along.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they developed Destiny 2 while they were working on Destiny.
They
1.
had a different team, 2 different teams. There was
Yeah.
one team that was like the live team, almost like the guys now that we're talking to, Christopher Barrett and like the PvP guys, Winuski, and what's that one guy with the huge arms, Josh Hamrick or whatever. Like those guys are the ones who are in charge of it, like day to day after it's launched. But the guys like Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy were the ones in charge of it, building the game from scratch. So they were probably in their own little corner of the, say the building or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They had their own team that probably wasn't talking to the current guys' teams. And then also they did something similar that they did in Destiny 1, where they changed it halfway through the process. So, Luke Smith and Noseworthy didn't have as much time to build Destiny 2. They like literally did it in like 18 or less months. I mean, I'm sure like most of the worlds were built by the time that they got their hands on it, but they literally like changed so many things around that's probably why the game felt like it didn't have as much in it. And then other certain decisions like, a lot of the secondary weapons going into the power slots, and then obviously no random rolls.
Right.
Like those are the
Yeah.
3 things that's making the grind a lot less. As soon as you get a gun, it's fully leveled up. You don't have to worry about putting spin metal into it anymore.
Yeah.
So, or even burning after taking King, burning your motes of light to level it up.
Yeah. Well, that's
I mean, you
That's
still
the
had to
thing.
level guns up after taking King. It was just you had so many motes of light from year 1 that you didn't need them for anything. That you were able to use it to like level up every gun that you had. Honestly, I think they're gonna have to go back to random rolls.
they are. Well, I mean,
Try to
Yeah.
get rid
after
of
the
some
next
of the
update.
garbage ones.
Yeah, after the next DLC, I think they're doing the random perk slot. Not the whole entire gun, but the random perk slot. I this was a theory that I was going, that I myself, I didn't read it from anything or hear it from anybody. Um, I think that they leaned way too much into the competitive side of Destiny, like the 4v4, trying to be more more esports friendly, almost, with taking away the random rolls, so people
People
can
asked for that though.
right. Well, but that's the thing, like
They went far. They went too
they
far.
went
with
to
what
yeah,
people asked for.
they
Mhm.
overcorrected.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. That's what I think. Like what I was saying before is that they were already making Destiny 2 by when they were fixing Destiny 1. So they didn't get to do all the fixes that Destiny 1 had because they were so late in the game. You know
I,
what I mean?
honestly though, like I think
they're always like catching up to what they release the game. They're like, okay, let's see how the game does. Then they start changing things to the first game, while the other game is already so on their way that they couldn't fix Destiny 2 fast enough, and they rebooted it.
well that's the issue.
So,
I think it was, I don't know if it was Triple Erect that said it, but they essentially took 3 years of feedback from Destiny 1 and the community and just threw it all out the window and then released Destiny 2. Like that's essentially what they did. Honestly, to me, Rise of Iron Destiny 1 was probably as close to perfect as I want that game to be. Because it was fun. The only thing lacking in Destiny 1 Rise of Iron was more content.
Yeah.
That because honestly, if they had come back with another like Taken King style expansion, yeah, I would have paid another $40 for that.
How much was Rise of Iron? It was like 30, right?
Rise
30
of
or
Iron was
20?
30. Yeah.
Yeah, 30.
Each DLC before that, like Dark Below was 30 when it first came out. House of Wolves was 30 when it first came out. Taken
Yeah.
King, just because of how big it was 40.
Well, when you pre-ordered Destiny, wasn't like expansion 1 and 2 only $30, or was it $30 each?
I think it was like 30. No, I think it was like 35 if you bought them both.
Yeah, 35 if
Front.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
give you
they were
discount?
sold separately as $20 each.
Oh, were they
$20,
20? Oh,
yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry.
what
I
it
thought they
was.
were both 30.
Yeah, no, Dark Below and House of Wolves were $20 each.
Yeah.
I
So
thought that Dark Below was $10 because I think it was $10.
by the time,
Well, they
this-
might have been selling it for cheaper when you bought it.
Yeah, because that's how it was for me. When I moved to PS4, I paid, because it was right before Taken King, and I pre-ordered the Taken King for 30, and then for an extra like $20, I got the Dark Below and House of Wolves expansion. So I paid essentially $60 for Taken King, House of Wolves, and the Dark Below.
Damn, nice.
Yeah, so that was, that was a good deal, and that's why I
Honestly,
committed to PS4.
For how much time I've spent in the game, this is the least amount of money I've ever spent on a game.
Oh yeah.
If you take the amount of hours I've played it and divide it by how much money I spent on it overall, even with all the microtransactions, like even with all the Eververse and the stuff from D1 where I was like buying emotes or trying to get those, specific armor sets that were a little different. Like remember the Iron Man one for
Mhm.
the Titan?
Yep.
Like I was one that spent money in all that stuff, and even if I added that all into it, it's still one of the cheapest games I've ever played.
Versus
compared to the
because
time I put
because
into
of
it.
how many hours you put into it. Yeah, I mean it's I was
didn't have-
talking to
I
you
didn't
guys
have a
yesterday,
problem
right? Like
They just needed more content.
that's what I'm saying. Like Rise of Iron Destiny was honestly like as close to perfect as that game would have been, and then Destiny 2 came out, and it seemed like we regressed back to like vanilla Destiny. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like,
Well, I wouldn't say regressed. I mean, because like they did a lot of. I mean, obviously there are overcorrections, but they made a lot of corrections. Like, they made it so that you didn't have to grind. Like, you didn't have to grind, get the gun that you wanted, and then grind to level it up.
well, I mean, that's what kept you
It's
playing
like
Destiny,
once you
though.
got the gun, boom, now it's done. Like, I mean, that part was a little nice, but unfortunately, because of not having random rolls, it just made it. They made it too easy to get every gun in the game, and now there's like nothing else to like work towards.
Yeah, well,
I mean, there were certain little things that they did change that were good. And don't get me wrong, like, dude, the first month that I played it, I loved every minute of it. It was after
Destiny
that
2?
that it started to,
well,
that it started feeling stale.
I think the first 2 weeks, all of us, you know, I know life the game because I remember Destiny came out and I had specifically requested that week off from work, just so I can play Destiny as much as I can, Destiny 2 as much as I can, and by the end of that week, I was essentially the max light was 305 when Destiny 2 first came out, and I was at like 302 by the end of the first week. And yeah, dude, I played.
Well, they made more
nonstop.
avenues for you to get to max light too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, after that, there was really no reason for me to play. You know, it's like, okay, well, I don't want to.
Besides the raids, Iron Banner,
Right.
the faction rallies.
Right, and
I know another thing that disappointed me on the, like, let's go to Destiny 2, right?
Mhm.
Now, the disappointment that we have. Remember the Rise of Iron where they did to the armor that you will get from the raids? You know, all those cool things that you could get. Like the
Raid
the
specific.
one,
Yeah.
Dota one had the ornaments that were like floating around and stuff.
yeah,
The little rocks, you know, and the bolt of glass, the leg, you know, will change.
Mhm.
These armors, they look like crap.
it's
bro.
boring.
They're nothing. They're just.
It
it's
seems
kinda dull.
rushed.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like here you go,
so-
just trying to get the product out there, you know, so everybody can buy it.
Yeah, but like it regressed so much from what they're capable, and like I think that they were saying is that you know, oh, because of the other consoles, what were they called, legacy consoles, that they couldn't do what they wanted to do because of them, like they would restrict them. Well, they don't have them anymore, so what's the deal? Like, why
Well,
don't they
yeah,
good,
that's my main gripe too. Is that Destiny 2 was promised
I'm
to
sure
be
that
better than Destiny 1.
Well, I'm
It was
sure that's
supposed to
coming
be
back.
Better.
not the Warmind expansion, but the big expansion after that. Like, I'm sure that's coming back because that's on.
No, I
like,
understand. What I'm saying is like it was supposed to be better overall.
Mhm.
Like they made it sound like the old consoles were holding them back from their potential. So it was like when they announced Destiny 2, okay, it's not going to be on the old consoles, and it's going to be on PC. So it was like, okay, good. Now they can just do whatever they want. They can go big, and it really just doesn't seem like they didn't go big. Like, matchmaking is still an issue, which I thought for sure with, you know, fast speed internet nowadays, and these faster boxes or consoles that we're playing on, that we wouldn't have the same issues that we had with Destiny 1.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Well, where are the freaking dedicated servers? Where are the 60
Yeah.
frames per second?
Yeah, man.
You know, every other game, Fortnite, that is a game that doesn't even look that good, is 60 frames per second. So I don't understand, like, that Bungie.
I'm
Yeah,
sure there are
but-
reasons behind that, and
Well, no, you can't compare it because
Well,
it's
it's
PvE
money,
and
it's your
PvP.
money.
yeah,
Yeah, but it's also PvE and PvP. Like, you got to look at like the free version of Battle Royale, Fortnite, or whatever. You can't compare that to Destiny because if you even look at the file size, Destiny's like 10 times the size of that.
Yeah.
that
I
game.
understand, but every game now is 60. Like, they have to do it. They're Bungie. They're Activision. Make a good game.
yeah. I mean,
You know, and it looks good in 60 frames per second.
yeah. On PC, it looks amazing.
Yeah, in PC it looks awesome.
Mhm.
On cap and
I'm
stuff.
totally jealous right now.
Like, when I play it, oh my god, it's amazing. Like, everything is awesome. But the right now what we got in console is not good. And okay, if you're not gonna do it 60 frames per second, then at least do the dedicated server. I mean,
Yeah.
Activision has to have a farm of servers somewhere that Destiny can use. So
Yeah. I mean,
this connected crap. Um,
I'll give them credit though. They did fix their like the connectivity issues from Destiny 1. Like they're more they're more connection based than matchmaking or skill based now, which is a godsend.
Yeah.
really, I think there's
No,
still
I
skill.
disagree
I
with
think
that.
there's still skill, bro. Cause I was playing with Who Shot Ya, and he's not a he's not a PvPer.
Hmm.
I was getting games that I was doing like 30. I was dropping like 30 people.
Maybe you're
Playing
just that good, bro.
10. No, 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 no. Because I'm playing right now and I'm like playing like crap. But it is. I think it's still matchmaking, skill based matchmaking.
Really? Huh.
They probably they don't do it, but yeah.
Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, it's probably that's true because when I was solo queuing Iron Bandit the other day, I was literally like top of the leaderboard every time. And then I played with you guys yesterday. I was like bottom every time. I was like, what's going on?
Well, I think it's because of our distance as well.
Yeah.
Like that goes into the not having dedicated servers by using a peer-to-peer network. And I'm in California, you're in Chicago, Juan's in Florida, and then even worse when we play with Kill,
Yeah.
he's not even in the United States. So it's like it just makes the connections just awful. So I think they're just they're probably trying to do skill based, but they can't because we're so far away from each other.
That's true. Well, that's I did notice that yesterday when we were playing. After Kill got kicked or he left or whatever, the match after that I started doing better.
So people just teleported less.
Yeah, that's what happened, dude. They were rubber banding less. It's like, okay, well, that was my main concern. Is like, I'd shoot at somebody, and then they teleport back to where they were. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting one shot by melees, which never happens on Destiny 2. I always
I was
lose my
getting one shot by
melee
grenades
battles.
and melees, but I think it is on their screen they shot me and then meleeed me.
Yeah.
Whereas on my screen, all I got was meleeed and then I died.
Well, that's the frustrating thing about like PvP right now on Destiny 1 or no Destiny 2.
No, the team shotting crap.
You know what though? Like
Trials is not the same. Trials was awesome.
Well, the reason the Trials was great because you had those hero moments where you can 1v3 clutch or 1v3 clutch, and give yourself a chance. Like, I think Dr. Lupo said it best.
But that's because of the guns.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Dr. Lupo said it best. Is like, okay, give me like Destiny 1. If it was a 1v3 situation, I had a chance to win. In Destiny 2, as soon as you get shot by two people, you're dead. Like, there's no coming back from that. Now, the most recent update, they did a better job of doing that. Just because whenever I get into a 1v2 situation, there's a chance that I'm gonna survive that encounter, or at least take one of them with me. Which is, I like the way that they're moving. I like the direction that they're going. They just need to get to the point where they were at in Destiny, like Rise of Iron Destiny,
Yeah, but I still think they need to be held accountable for prior mistakes. That's like saying
absolutely.
Because
I spent $100 on this game, more actually, because I bought it for Xbox One.
Somebody who used to rob banks all the time, and then you're like, oh look, he's not robbing banks anymore. Oh well, he's taking a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Like but he still was robbing banks.
I mean, what do you want him to do as far as accountability?
Fred, you then servers and stuff. Could they add servers after the game is already done?
Oh yeah, I mean you can always implement physical hardware even while you got, let's say, a product that's going live. I mean, you can easily switch over.
Well, it's all about maximizing profit though for them, because like
exactly. So it's really up to the company.
Yeah, but that's every game. Every game wants to maximize profit.
But the thing is, like, some people, like Call of Duty has dedicated servers just because it's Call of Duty, and they budget for it. Bungie probably didn't budget, or couldn't budget for, that for physical servers because they have most of their stuff is going on talent.
Man. I don't buy that because it's Bungie, bro.
They're still small compared to like Infinity Ward.
But they're Activision.
Activision is the parent company. Bungie in itself is its own. Its own.
Bungie's
entity.
its own. Activision is his parent company. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Activision should have a say.
Yeah, Activision. Their say is in their pockets
so
with the money.
Activision is a shitty parent.
Yeah.
Your son is struggling.
Honestly, like
Even more,
Activision and EA are just anytime I hear, this so and so just joined EA or so and so just joined Activision, I'm just like, oh well, there goes that franchise. Like, granted, I'm still gonna give them money, but like, it's not gonna be the same,
Yeah.
Like, granted, like, what was Destiny? Was that Bungie by itself with Activision, right? The first Destiny.
Well, yeah, Bungie's the developer and Activision is the publisher. So Activision spends the money on all the discs, all the marketing, and then they get a certain percentage of the profit, and then Bungie gets a certain percentage.
So I think Bungie with Destiny 1, Bungie with Destiny 1 had a little bit more leeway as far as their creative goals or whatever, just because it was the first. Destiny was the first of its kind. Now that Activision saw how much money Destiny made and how much potential, they stepped in and be like, okay, well, we want you to do it this way. And that's what I think the product of Destiny 2 is. It was a little rushed because Activision was like, well, this needs to come out this year,
Well, no, they had a contract. They signed a contract. They promised Destiny 1 in 2013. It was a year late.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Activision could have sued them for that.
Okay, but guys, you're gonna tell me that a company that can spend $500 million on making the game, they don't even know if it's gonna work, cannot do budget for dedicated server?
No, of course not.
$500 million.
Yeah, dedicated servers are a ton of money, dude.
I know, but almost every game's doing it nowadays.
Yeah, but 500.
So if you have another game that has less money behind it than Destiny did, and they can do it, then that means Destiny can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
They're just choosing to use that money elsewhere.
Right. It's probably going into like, their voice actors because they always they always get the like voice actors
more
that
popular
are
people.
Yeah, more popular. The going into their orchestral score, the. Like, things like that. I don't know, to be honest. Like, I can't speak for them, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an Activision decision or if that's a Bungie decision,
Yeah.
so we can't really be mad at either one because we don't know whose decision that is technically.
Right, exactly. And that's what's frustrating. Is like, well, and it's easy, again, it's easy for us as, like, players to say, yeah, you can do it, but I'm sure there's reasons behind it that why they didn't. So I'm not gonna give them too much shit for it just because I don't fully understand the situation,
Yeah, and I think Activision gets too much negative publicity over this because Bungie was the one that promised and signed a contract saying that they would produce so much content, and they haven't lived up to that side of it. So it was Bungie who introduced microtransactions, saying, "Hey, we can't make as much DLCs as we originally signed saying we would do, but in order to recoup you the money that the DLCs would have made, we're going to introduce microtransactions." So that wasn't an Activision thing, that was a Bungie thing. And a lot of people put that all on Activision.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that was Bungie saying, yeah, we cannot make it, so we'll do these microtransactions to give you them.
Well,
yeah, that was a horrible mistake, by the way.
I was gonna say, well, it sounds like we're super jaded that that Destiny 2 came out. It's I mean, we still play it. So I mean, let's shift focuses here. So as far as Destiny 2 goes, when did it release? September last year?
Yeah.
So what? It's been now.
It'll be a year this September, I think.
Right. Well,
So it's like 7 months.
7 months?
May?
Okay.
by the time the May DLC comes out, it'll be about 7 months.
Okay, so 7 months since release. What?
Sorry,
What?
8 or 9.
Yeah. All right. What? Yeah. So since September, what's been the positive things you've seen? Because we talk about Destiny 1 like honestly like one of the greatest games that we've ever played, which arguably it could be because it influenced me as a gamer to where I am now. Like I never would have met you guys. We wouldn't be doing this podcast. I wouldn't be streaming if it wasn't for Destiny. So let's talk positive influences on Destiny 2. Like what do we see now that we are excited for the future?
Well, so far, I mean, I've liked the updates that they actually been pushing out. I mean, at least they're making it an attempt and listening to the community and giving them what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Versus like regressing back or making the game a lot worse. I mean, the past few updates that they did push out, I haven't had too much, playtime into it, but just a little time that I got here and there. I mean, I'm pretty much satisfied. The whole going fast update, for instance. I did like that because that was one thing that I was very disappointed and I was not used to was the actual mobility of the game versus coming from D1 to D2.
That was the biggest adjustment.
It was a big adjustment for me. Yeah, it was.
Like when from D1 to D2, like our games would go from like, okay, we reached the score limit, game's over. With D2, it was like you'd be lucky to get your super once in the game, and then lucky to even reach the score limit in the game. Now that with the new update, it's like, okay, got my super twice, reach the score limit, and surviving 1v2 encounters. Like I'm excited for the game. Like I'm playing more Destiny 2 now since that update. And 6v6. They should just keep that a permanent thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely the 6v6 right now in Iron Banner is really what got me back into it, I really wanted to try it out, and when it actually was released, I gave it a crack at it, and I just after I put down the controller, I actually got that urge to come back and play again,
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's just Juan. Juan guilted me into starting to play it again.
Yeah, well, he told me because I moved, because Destiny 2 when it first came out, like after the release, the most recent release with Osiris, there was nothing to do, and I like everybody else felt lost. I'm like, what am I supposed to play now? So I moved over to PC and started playing like competitive Overwatch a little bit, and I'm an Overwatch. I converted to be an Overwatch player, and all of these updates, or actually during that time, I talked to Juan and I was like, dude, where's 185? It's like, yeah, he stopped playing the game. He said he's done with Destiny. I was like, what? You were like the biggest Destiny player I know. Like, if anybody was on Destiny, it was gonna be you. It was one of you to Juan or one.
I know, it was just running out of content. Nobody was on to play the raids. I've noticed that with Destiny 2, like, I couldn't just go into the LFG and just find a raid group of people who knew how to play the raid. It seemed like everybody who had experience with the raid wasn't playing the raid anymore. And again, because the raid guns sucked, or the raid armor didn't have any raid perks on it, so it was just cosmetic pretty much.
Yeah.
So it was just like, so the people that were good at it just weren't playing it more and more. So it was just like trying to find people who were good enough to play it, because obviously like most of the clan wasn't on at the time. Like everybody in the clan like played Destiny 1 a lot, but a lot of them did not play Destiny 2 very much.
Yeah,
and so like it was like hard to find people to play the raid in. And like when I was doing Crota and what is it? The one from Taken King raid.
Oh,
like
Kingsfall.
Fall and Crota's End. When I was doing those two raids, I could find an LFG group of people who knew how to run it with no problem.
Did I remember we would get mad at
like
you
King's
because
Fall was the one that I had the least amount of problems with.
But as I say, yeah, we would get
hard finding people to beat Vaulted Glass. It was hard. It was a little bit harder finding people to beat Crota. But King's Fall, like, dude, I remember like I used to beat that raid like on all three characters within the first 1 or 2 days of the week of Tuesday weekly reset.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When Rise of Iron came out, and like they re-release all those old raids, we would get mad at you because you would run the raid with an LFG group before the
Yeah.
whole clan got on. Like, it's
Because
like, oh, well, there goes one. He's
have
like,
enough people to run it.
that's what I'm saying. You would get into
So-
like the group and you'd be like, hey Evo, like look at this. It's like, God damn it, what?
Yeah. And it's just like with Destiny 2, it's just like the LFG groups are just
They're gone.
mostly only filled with yeah, first they're not that full, but the people that are in there mostly newbies who like wanted you to like kind of carry them or explain it to them. And you would even ask them, hey, do you have raid experience? Because like I'm not going to be the person that's like, well, you have to have your raid emblem on to, you have to have 10 completions to play with me. Like I wasn't doing that, but it was just like people would say, oh yeah, I know how to do it. And then when we get to it, they're like, oh, I only know how to do this one little thing. I can only do this. I can only do that. And it's like,
Yeah.
and then we would end up playing it for 3 hours and not beating it.
Yeah,
So it was just getting frustrating.
dude,
Um,
go for it.
so that was kind of why I stopped playing, because like the raid stopped being fun.
Yeah. Juan? Did we lose him?
I never stopped playing. This raid is not as fun as any other raid because, again, the loot's not there. That's the biggest problem with Destiny. But you don't have to do anything anymore to get something. Everybody can have trials gun. Everybody can have raid gun. They don't even need to be in the raid once. Just need to
Because of the clan perks?
be in a clan and then they get all the guns. So Trials is not this thing. The later part of Destiny, since I became more of a PvPer, I like to play Trials a lot.
Yeah, you do.
And this Trials is boring.
This Trials is frustrating. It's not Trials itself, I think. It's the tactics that people use. Like crouching the entire, like crab walking essentially the entire time, you know?
Yeah, just to try to stay off the radar, right?
Uh-huh.
Team shooting.
Team shooting's not that bad. It's team shooting, okay, you need to team shoot to win. But a lot of
Yeah.
people don't get that. And it's hard, and especially the tactics where it's like, okay, I'm gonna crouch with the rocket and when they or a sword, and when they turn the corner, wow, there you go, swipe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think Elimination 3v3 was the best.
I like the one where you have to plant the bomb.
Yeah, that's a good game mode, but I don't think that should be the Trials.
I mean, that I mean, all right. I'm a little biased because I used to play a lot of Counter Strike, and that's essentially all Counter Strike is just that search and destroy type game. Or is that search and destroy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Where you have to plant the bomb.
In Call of Duty.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
and then you had to do. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's what it
you
was.
either defend or plant. That's
Yeah.
now you know when the beta came out, I was so happy that was a game mode, and every time Trials was like that, on Destiny 2, I actually did well. But if it was like just straight slaying or elimination, it's I am not a slayer by any means. I'm an OBJ player. But I mean, I don't know. They
Hopefully by September they should have enough updates in and
oh yeah.
corrections made.
So let's
that
talk
the game
about.
is going to be a lot more fun.
All right.
Yeah, so far from what I've been reading, a lot of good things from that September update. The Warmind.
Right. Well,
No,
um,
that's
that's next month,
May.
right?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
next
in a
month?
couple weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like 2
the
weeks.
September update is like Destiny 2's Taken King update, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
it's their next
Queen
big
or whatever.
update.
No, but what they did that everybody's happy about is that summit.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
let's
the
talk
summit.
about the summit. I mean, we know that at least that Bungie really sought after, because they know they're in trouble. So they sought after the biggest Destiny player names and brought them into the studio to talk about what they wanted to see. And from what I heard from Snaps, a lot of, if not all, of those content creators,
Did she
they,
go?
yeah, she went.
Yeah,
Nice.
A lot
Did
of
she tell
them,
you what was in there?
no. So a lot. The conversation was, well, my community thinks this. Like essentially from everybody that went, my community thinks that like, and that's good to hear because if you were active in anybody like Dr. Lupo's Discord, anybody
Yeah.
that was a big Destiny player, they had channels, specific channels to what just for feedback from their community saying, okay, what do you want to see from Destiny 2? What can make Destiny 2 better? And everybody, that was the most active channel in everybody's server for like a week prior to the summit. And hearing them come back and be like, okay, I feel good about this next update past the Warmind, just because Bungie's gonna try to implement as many of the feedbacks as possible. That's good to hear.
Yeah, but see, they didn't have to have a summit for that. All they have to do is go on Reddit or Twitter, and they know exactly what people want.
Well, that's the
Because
thing though. Like,
so many people voice their opinion on that. I think the summit was to show them what they have cooking for September, and they wanted them to actually play it. And so instead of using their inside testers, they wanted more maybe opinions on it
mm-hmm.
to see or the opinions of the people that have
Well, Bungie
their
probably
hand
told
on the
them.
pulse of the Destiny community.
Well,
Yeah, I
let's
think
say,
they
More for
wanted to
them
get
play
different.
it.
yeah.
They
Well,
wanted to
Bungie
see
probably
them play
told them
it,
was like, okay,
and
here's
then give their opinions on
right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But Bungie was probably like, oh, here's what we have planned. Here's what we have done so far. What do you think? And how can we make this better? But you can't do that over Twitter, or
Yeah.
online. So they need to be there and see like the actual timeline and the actual plans of what's gonna happen. So I mean, I'm glad it happened. I mean, I will always be a Destiny player. Um, and when Destiny 2 was bad, I was really vocal to people about it just because spent so much time on it, and all of a sudden it's like, well, here's dirt on your face. Like that's what it felt like.
Yeah, but going back to the point with the summit, the problem with that is that they just went there for 2 days. The first month that we played this Destiny that we have, everybody was like, "Oh my God, there's so much to do and this and that."
it. Yeah.
After
Oh my God.
the
9
month-
out of 10.
Yeah, and after the month is when everybody's like, "Okay, so what's left?" So they only went for 2 days. They told them what works, what doesn't work, what people want to hear. Hopefully, the feedback that they gave them hopefully is gonna have an impact. But Warmind in September, they already set. I think.
No, Warmind is set. The September one they can still make changes to.
Yeah, but you know.
So is that the next update though? The Warmind one?
The Warmind,
The
yeah,
Warmind
that's
is
next
the one
month.
that's in
Next
2
DLC,
weeks,
yeah.
Is that the next DLC?
That
Yeah.
comes out next month.
Oh, okay.
But the one in September, okay, they can make changes, but they're not gonna make all the changes that everybody wants.
No,
Well,
I
they
mean
were-
they're gonna try to make, yeah. You can't make everybody happy. That's just,
Yeah.
they're probably gonna take like the most, the loudest ideas and then implement that if they can.
Okay, so
Most of the changes we're probably gonna see on PvP, to be honest.
Yeah. So wouldn't you
they
guys
need to
think
fix
that?
PvE, man, they need to fix PVE. You need to have. Well, they're fixing it with that. Did you guys read up or heard about the new level caps? Like it's gonna be really hard to get max level, and you have to do a lot of different things. That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, that's
PvE
like kind of like bringing back the grind from D1, you know?
Yeah, and but okay. So if you guys can, what will be the first thing that you guys will fix for this?
If I can fix something,
Yeah, if you can fix one thing, the biggest issue that you have.
Yeah, from an IT standpoint, bro, I'll just they all have dedicated servers.
yeah, that's true.
That's just from my standpoint.
End game content.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, loot, man, loot.
Yeah.
Armor
That's why,
that is
like,
awesome.
people
Yeah, you know
play-
what? I think that was one that kind of veered me off a little bit. It was just the loot wise.
there was no loot.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah.
that was their issue. There was no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say no loot. There was very little loot. Like me and yeah, we're all essentially collectors here of weapons. Like if you look at my vault now, and it's a bad habit I picked up from Destiny 1 is that I have multiple weapons of the same weapon. Like that's just how bad it was, you know.
No, I have all the weapons except the N.N.
I have that.
So
I have everything except Acreus because nobody wants to do that that
Oh.
strike.
They did it earlier.
We just did it.
Are you kidding me?
I just
I've
got
been
the
trying to get
Acreus.
that weapon since it came out, and nobody wants to do it. Everyone's like,
See?
Hey,
That's what LFG is for, bro.
yeah, I'm not gonna LFG when I'm in a clan.
Dude, that's what I do.
If it makes you feel any better, Evo, I didn't even know I had the quest. I just picked it up. I was just helping out, and it turns out that I got it.
I literally, I need to do the strike, and then I need to do the raid. That's,
Yeah, they just did the strike.
oh my
I
god.
can help you with the strike after the podcast. I'll help you with it.
All right. You know how long I've been, like, ever since that quest line came out, haven't been able to do it because everyone, like, I think I asked one, he's like, oh man, that strike is way too hard.
No, now it's easier because
Now it's easier.
you don't have time.
Oh, you're not timed anymore. That was the hardest part.
No,
Was,
you're timed. You're still
Well, yeah,
timed.
you're still timed.
But I think we're over leveled for it.
oh.
I think that's what it is. I
think
I did.
since Osiris came out.
Yeah, and that strike is really hard back then. You know.
Yeah, it was
I guess.
super
Plus,
hard.
we're probably just better at it.
Well,
Yeah,
that's-
because when
that could be
I
another
did
thing,
it,
too.
one of the other guys from the clan kind of carried me and Scott through it. Like he was a monster. He was
Yeah,
just-
I remember that dude.
I swear, at the end of the strike, it was like he had 120 kills, and then I think me and Scott had less than 120 put together.
I remember
Like
that guy.
he really killed it, man.
But yeah, that was probably the only thing I don't have in the game right now. All right, well, so let's wrap this up then as far as Destiny 2 goes.
Yeah,
They got to bring back random rolls because
They do.
They're not going to be able to create enough guns because they're so specific on their guns, and then they have to write lore on the guns. It's like there's no way they can have just a crazy unlimited amount of guns because that's what you would need if you're going to do static rolls, like how Borderlands 2 does it.
Mhm.
Is like they have like the software itself create the guns.
Yeah,
So instead of them pre-creating guns and then putting them into a loophole, they literally have the system itself create the guns. So that there's literally millions and millions of guns. If you just kept playing, you would get nothing but new guns.
yeah, that's true.
So
Well,
like I mean, if they can implement something like that, they need to go back to random rolls. Just take out the garbage perks,
Yeah,
like Grave Robber and all the useless perks. Like
the
take
the
those
one where
out.
you have to crouch
Um,
to be more accurate. I hate that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was yeah.
And then make the raid weapons have more raid-like perks, like more
Like
damage
raid specific
to Cabal.
perks. Yeah,
Yeah, more damage to Cabal or whatever. Make the raid armor like that, and then make the Trials armor and the Trials guns do more stuff that's geared towards PvP, not necessarily like making them, OP in PvP, but like just making them better for PvP. Like, because that
Yeah.
just makes no sense when you have like a PvE perk on a PvP weapon.
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. It won't help you out.
But I'm really hoping that at the summit that they push the idea that they need to separate PvE and PvP, because in Destiny 1 they said that they didn't want to separate them. They wanted it to feel the same. If you had a Uriel's gift in PvE, you take it to PvP and it works the same.
as much
I
as I,
can
like that
understand
idea,
them
though.
working the same, but they really need to break it apart, because I think that's one of the main things that's hurt Destiny ever since Year 1, is that they're trying to make everything the same in both, when they should just split it and make like maybe certain perks only work in PvP and then certain perks only work in PvE, so then they could make those crazy ridiculously strong weapons for PvE so that we feel powerful when we when we play the raids and the nightfalls and whatnot. But then you don't feel overpowered when you're in PvP.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
you
agree.
remember how Halo was? That everybody had the same kind of guns.
Yeah, people were talking
Everybody
about
loved
that.
Yeah, everybody loved that, but I don't understand. Like Destiny has its own,
Have pre-made
Yeah.
rollouts or loadouts like set up where you can only choose, and then like the loadouts are automatically set. So like if you have like a scout rifle, then you're gonna have a sidearm with it, or you're gonna have a pulse rifle, then you'll have an auto rifle with it, or something like. But have them all like
Yeah.
pre-made,
What if they
so
tried
that you have to choose it. I think like when people grind for a certain weapon, that's one of the main things that they're going to want to do is once they get it, and even if they get it in PvE, then they can go to PvP and try it out. I just think they just need to handle the balancing separately.
Yeah.
Like they don't need to, like if they do a buff for a gun in PvE, it doesn't need to be buffed in PvP.
Well, they did that in this update.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did that a little bit, but I mean they need to go more in that direction so that they don't have to worry about making the PvP too bland.
True. I think that's one of those things where it's like easier said than done. You know.
Yeah.
From
Well, I think they need to change
Technical
their mind
standpoint.
because their minds are set on they can't be different, and I think that prohibits them. I think if they made it different, it would be easier on them for balancing.
yeah. I don't know.
I mean, obviously, I'm not a game developer, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But
Right.
it just seems like that's something that's prohibited them for a very long time, and it's like, hey, you know what? I know that you wanted to do that, but guess what? It's not working. It hasn't been working for a long time. Try something new. Like you really, if you want to get people back in here, like if you want to, especially if you want to use that garbage peer-to-peer networking system, you need to have a lot of people in there.
Well, they just need to, like, I think, give hardcore players something to, something to grind for, or something to try to get. You know,
But they
yeah,
gotta
like
make
you're
it
right
more
with
fun as
with
well.
with raid
Like,
with
dude,
raid specific
With
weapons.
Halo, nobody was grinding for anything. They played it
That's
because it was
true.
fun.
Yeah.
So
And
I
that's
mean,
'cause I don't play
I
Halo.
understand you want to grind for stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. Like that, definitely do that, but make it fun first.
Yeah.
Because if it was fun, then I'd still be playing it,
Well,
even though I have all the weapons.
The Go Fast update is a step towards that whole fun factor, because
No, for sure. It's definitely not a step backward.
Yeah.
I'll agree on that. But they need to go more in that direction.
Oh yeah, no,
Because
which
the
they
only
will.
thing that I've found fast in the Go Fast update is the Dawn Blade Super for the Warlock. That's the only thing that I've seen that's fast. Let's make them all that fast.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's.
I don't know, man. Pulse rifles. There's a pulse rifle meta right now.
No.
That's-
Well, that's not fast.
Vigil-
Though.
there's
That's
a Vigil-
just they changed the sandbox. But
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's
make everyone.
their time to kill is a lot faster now with their weapons.
Well, let's get all the weapons up to that vigilance
Yeah.
when
Oh yeah,
time to
I
kill.
agree.
I know the vigilance wing rate.
Make them all that fast, so then we could use any gun we want.
Yeah.
But with fast, I'm saying movement, like movement speed.
Okay.
Like, yeah, they upped the walking speed, but who walks? Nobody
Yeah.
walks anywhere. Everybody sprints, and the sprint speed did not go up.
I don't know, man. I
All-out
for some reason keep getting sprint locks, so I'll be running, and all of a sudden it'll stop running, do like a jog. I was like, come on, man. I think it's just me though. My controller sucks.
You're
I think
you
it's your
still getting that,
controller,
Evo?
Oh, I'll do it all the time, all the time.
I don't get that. I don't have that problem, so I think it might be your left stick. It might be
Probably.
worn down.
It probably is. I need to open it up and solder something. I don't know. We'll see. Any final thoughts before we end this? We are at an hour and a half.
So far, Bungie's doing good with the updates, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I hope really they keep going towards that direction, and something good comes out in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And keep that strike specific loot, those drops. I kind of had fun farming for that DFA.
Yeah.
Dude, I still
Did you get it?
have not even
I haven't
tried
gotten
doing
it
it.
actually. I stand corrected.
I
That's
haven't
the
gotten
second
it
weapon
either.
I
It
haven't
took me
gotten.
like 35 regular Nightfall attempts when I finally got it.
Damn.
Dude, some people played it for 12 hours. I don't think I played it for 12 hours altogether. Because we figured out, well...
Do you know the
I played
percentage
with
of the
group that
drop on
figured
it?
out a quick way. No, I don't know what it is. I just know it took me 35. It took another guy 3. So
3.
you never know.
That means it's going to take me like 70 tries. If it took you 35, it's going to take me double that. Because for some reason, your RNG is so much better than mine. Every time. The RNG luck. Alright, well. That. Any final thoughts, Juan? Anything?
No, I mean, I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah,
Let's keep it
as
going.
always. This was, I think this was a great first podcast.
Oh, yeah.
The nameless.
The Nameless Podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll think of something. It's, the inaugural podcast, but it was good talking to you guys as far as how Destiny goes. I mean, we won't always be talking about Destiny, but next week this is gonna be a little bit more planned out. But yeah, I mean, hopefully Destiny keeps going to where they're going, and next week again, we'll do this again next week.
Alrighty, guys.
Yeah,
Have a good
sounds
night.
good.
Take it easy,
Yeah,
dudes.
I'm gonna be playing, so if you wanna do that,